Guys, welcome to Jay's YouTube channel. I'm Taiwo.
I'm Adife.
Nice to meet you.
All right, guys. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about nursing in Nigeria versus nursing in the UK. And can you relax? I know you have a lot to say. So we're just going to be speaking about our experiences, like what's better in Nigeria or what's better in the UK, and all of that. Many good stuff. So starting strong off our list is career progression.
Hmm.
And I think that in Nigeria, yeah, we carry career progression on our head.
We no get choice.
Unlike here where like they really cannot be bothered. So I have like my manager, right? She just came on the group chat few days to say that she will be leaving like the trust and she'll be going to another trust but as a band 5. So imagine that you are going from a band 7. I mean she's a band 7 and she's going back to a band 5. If you were Nigerian, your parents will start praying and fasting for you because in Jennifer's voice,
Village people.
God will not let
To start
us
with,
see.
as in Nigeria, you can't even do it.
You can't
That will not even born you. Like how?
look at your face.
You can't do
She's
it.
so
Whether you're even
serious.
sick, even though the job is killing, you cannot do it. The thoughts can't even come to your head.
Yeah, imagine telling your mom and your dad that daddy, mommy, I got a job,
You can't
I've
even
been
do it.
promoted, band 6. Then after a year, you say, stress yẹn ti pọ̀ jù, I want to
Mo
go
fẹ́-
back. But you, our village people, tó ti ń dààmú ẹ, they will start casting and
Cast
binding
and
them.
bind.
There was a time when I was in Nigeria. It's when I started my one job. I won't say which of the job. So when I started the job, I was like, they're stressing me. My manager, she's stressing me. She's after my life. She
Hello,
was not
Tommy.
like me.
Yes.
I'm actually serious. Like I was actually crying. I told my parents. I told my daddy. I told my mom. I told my mom was like, I'm going to change my job because at that moment I was off-kick. Like I had other people that already gave me
Yeah.
appointment letter, that kind of thing. They were not paying up to that one, but I had other appointments. So I was like, let me just go to this same. And when I told me that this is my job that I'm doing, do you think I enjoy it like that? Are you joking? I've been doing this job for how many years? Like you don't really. It's not about whether you enjoy it or not.
No, you don't have
just
to. So
do
far,
it.
it
As long as it pays the
Yes,
bills.
you just have
Yeah.
to because it pays the
As
bills.
your
and-
mother has never called you before and prayed for you that she knows you are very comfortable in the present job that you have, but then she prays for you to get something better.
Yeah.
Now imagine you getting something better and then you wake up one morning to say, mommy, Emma been know that I want to padà sí square one.
Father, see,
Padà lọ sí ìbọn wọn àti bí mẹ́tàlá ẹ̀dá.
you can't even say it. You can't even come out from your mouth.
No,
For Africans is more like a setback.
we are heavy
for
on
us.
career progression.
Yes, we are
Like,
very
Even
heavy,
when you
honestly.
trust me, if a Nigerian is in a band 6 or a band 7 role, the person is still actively looking for a way to go to band. You know, there's band 8A, there's band 8B.
yes.
Like even to go higher than band 8, if there's any role, not going
go
back.
back.
They don't see, they don't go back, forward ever.
Backward never.
That's
a
that's what they do.
Yeah.
But it's different for them here.
And it's just about how they are satisfied with for lack of better words, the barest minimum. So you would find people that have been band 5s for the longest time. And like there was one time that one of my friends was telling me that she knew someone that has been a band 5 before she got to that trust for a couple of years. And even when she came as a band 5, she was still a band 5 with her. Now she got another role as a band 6. This lady is still a band 5.
Some of them don't really care. They
Yeah,
don't
that's what I'm
want-
saying. They
want
don't
to be
like they are satisfied. They can't be bothered as long as they can pay their bills. They live a comfortable life.
I mean,
They
can
prioritize,
afford-
they
yeah,
get government benefits too. Like
they
so-
prioritize peace of mind.
Not all of them get
Not all of them.
government benefits because they are also immigrants like us. Like it won't make sense to like pick on anyone, but there are immigrants like us in the UK that they would rather just be in that band 5 their whole career
Yeah.
than actually look for something. And you even find some of them that they are nurses now, and after a couple of years, working as nurses, they would either go back to being an HCA or even take up a cleaner job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think for some of them, it's not even as if when there's no band six role or there's no job for you to apply for. That's a different case. You know that
Mm.
okay, I want to be a band six, but there's no available this thing. I did interview, I didn't get the job or something.
Mm.
That's different. This one, they saw the position.
They are so
I am
comfortable
not
They
in
would
doing.
the
rather
position
not.
that they
Yeah.
are very comfortable in the position that they are. But to be fair, I kind of understand them, because when you look at the pros and the cons of like moving up the cadre in the profession, it actually pays to stay at the lower level, because when you take, for example, you get to like a band seven role, there's a limit to what you can do. You can't pick up bank shifts. I don't think you can pick up
You can.
my manager can't pick up bank shift. Can
I
she?
have seen.
It's not so they cannot pick up, but it's just the fact that
I can.
they're
I
coming
They
think.
back
I
to
can.
the
think
world.
they can, because I've seen some. I mean, managers put on the navy blue uniform in our trust,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
And I've worked with someone that had put on that uniform, but she came to work as a band
As a
five because the bankroll was band
I
five.
used to think they can't pick up
Twice.
banshee, but anyways, they pay, they get taxed more, and like
Of course,
when you
because
compare the
their salary is higher now.
responsibilities they will have to do compared to the take home they get. When they UK, everything that cuts your pay is the tax. So when the
Mm.
tax goes out, what is left of your pay is almost similar to what a person that is in a band five earns. So most of them, they'll be like, why would I want to go up the ladder when at the end of the day my take home is not worth it? You get?
I just think that in Africa we've just been
But we would
conditioned.
rather die
Yeah,
there.
the children.
No, either get that.
We've just been
small salary,
conditioned
but
to
the fact
progress.
that I'm getting higher.
Yeah,
that's
it's just like that.
Next up is hierarchy in nursing.
Hmm.
So for hierarchy in nursing, so you know how I'm going to even use an example that we can all relate to. So when we were doing our internship in nursing, in
DDNS.
LASUT rather, when you see the DDNS, I don't even know what to say.
You are even going far.
You had better adjust.
You are going far.
Rethink everything that you've done in the last 30 minutes and see if you are in check.
You are going far. When you see
When
a
you
senior
see
nurse, you have to stand up.
CNO, that's another
You are
thing.
going far when
That's
you say
true.
DNS.
I
when
mean,
a
that's
senior
true.
when a senior nursing like
You stand up
DNS
to
or
greet.
chief nursing officer comes in, you, no matter what you are doing, you stand up to
To
greet.
greet
Nobody
them,
send your
yeah.
papa for this place.
But
so.
here, they even go as far as calling each other, like, we don't use Miss or Mrs.
Call
Everybody
everyone by
is
their
called by their
name.
government name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but to be fair, the last place we worked to, they don't use.
There
they
are
call them their
levels.
name.
There are levels.
Even
There are
my
levels.
supervisor, we call her
Yeah.
her name. It's just like this subtle
Reminder that you're still Africans.
Yeah, it's just that's home training. I'll be
That-
like, this is my son. I mean, I'll just add nurse to the not
Yeah.
not like ma. You just
Every-
say,
you call
okay,
them by
nurse.
their
Also,
first
this
name.
not that I need to add the nurse. They
But-
call themselves name. If you see our even the DNS, I don't need to stand up and greet her. I just
Yeah,
yes,
where
you
we
just,
last
you
work,
just
that's what they do.
you just but at least like this home training just give the reminder that okay, this is my boss. And the way you answer will be different.
But it's
you don't need to say hello, nurse.
it's
stand
because
up,
of our type of workplace.
I
It's
guess
like
because of the workplace.
Western.
Our
they
own was
brought it.
or where I was working before I came to the UK was, I would say that they were just like in the middle. They are trying to be Western.
I know.
But even with that
one
said,
was
I mean,
Western
you don't have to do that whole. I mean, they used to do it with student nurses that came for internship, but we that we were like staff already, we would not essentially stand up to greet like a senior nurse. We would not do that.
we don't even
But
stand up.
That's
No.
that's how will I say, that hierarchy is still in the air, where you have to use ma and greet
No.
and do all
I
those
think
things.
I think
just
that
one
one.
of your
compared to
subconscious
here.
Yeah,
mind
just
that
your
will
subconscious
let you know
self that
okay,
she's older than
she's
me.
older than me. Not
Or
that
possibly that she has more experience than me. So let me just pay respect.
Let me just respect her. But
That's just
if you
it.
want to call her, if you call her a name, she's not
You're
going to do
actually
anything.
not doing any wrong, because
Yeah.
within the hospital, it's like the hospital policy says you call everyone by their address, everyone by their first name,
Yeah.
by their government
To be
name.
fair, even doctors,
I don't have to put doc. Who
You
are
don't
the
have to
doctors?
put
What?
doctors.
Exactly.
You can
You
just
just call him by
except
their
you just
name.
want to be,
Extra, like
you just
doctor
want to like
this.
home training. Just say okay, at least I'm not saying brother Kini. Let me just say doctor.
This is my project.
And let's say that there was a day one girl called a doctor. The doctor is like a respected doctor in the hospital. She just called him name like so this thing. Your patient is looking for you. Even me, I was not the guy. I felt like,
Omo, you get mind,
but
You get
he
mind,
did not
though.
see it as he did not take it as anything.
Yeah, because
that
the
is
hospital
what
allows it.
it does not mean. But to me, home training was like, don't mind though.
Like in Yoruba, they will say, "Oh, Laru, come on."
Yeah, she just said it like that. I'm like, okay.
Ebi ẹ̀kọ́.
Next up, and this one is very particular because, of course, we all worked in Nigeria, is the excessive supplies that are just really available
Yes.
at in your work,
Everything is
like your
at
workplace.
your
You know they
Basically,
finish.
call and beg. You know they finish.
you
Like, but
you possibly
it doesn't even
cannot run
finish.
out.
They restock.
And let me say that peradventure, your word runs out of, I don't know,
Some-
anything.
Anything.
You can
Next
literally, we have like a stock list
Yeah.
on our intranet where you can look at the stock list of other words to see if they have what
They
you're
have
looking
what
for,
they're
and then you can just go and get it, or you send your HCA to go and get it. So like you would literally never run out of anything. To be honest, there have been days that we would run out of Atmans, or would run out of that catheter passport that you have
Even
to give
say 40
patients.
sips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once you call a word to say, "Oh, do you have this? Do you have that?"
You
If they
get-
have it, you
yeah.
can just
Yeah.
And the
go
funny
and
thing is, you don't
collect.
even have to go yourself to pick it up. You can book a porter.
Porter, yes.
So
Like,
life is just
if you don't want to,
easy.
you
There's
can just
always
book a porter.
materials in excess,
Yes.
drugs in excess, except if it's like a medication that is specifically for a particular condition.
Yes, yeah.
That's when you have to like
You order it from the pharmacy.
But if
Yes.
not, it's always available.
Yeah.
in
And patients
surplus.
don't have to buy anything out of their
Yes,
pocket.
everything is
Unlike,
free.
I remember when I worked in last suit, when I interned in last suit, when you are admitted, they give you like a prescription, a list. You buy maybe 3 normal saline,
Oh yeah, I
5
remember. Then you bring it
5
like a big
sodium
carton.
glucose. You buy
Yeah.
paracetamol, buy ciprofloxacin inside the pharmacy carton.
Yeah,
And
I
then the
remember.
nurses or whoever wants to use the supply will take out of it. And as
then
it's
you just have
finishing, you have to restock.
restock.
You also buy your
Yeah.
syringes, your needle, your
Yeah.
cotton wool,
Okay.
gauze,
I
and all of that.
Okay, that would differ in a way because I mean the last place we worked, their own is just have money in your account.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
they charge
me
you for
too.
it.
Yeah, so
they
the-
bill it to your
yeah, just have
they
money
bill
in your
it to-
I think
They take it and bill it.
it was because
Yeah, medication is excess.
Lassus was government and
Yeah.
we worked in like a private.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to be different.
It's-
Yeah, so the private you don't need to buy anything. Just make sure that you have it. There's money in your account. They just get it from the pharmacy,
Yeah.
deduct it from your bill. Anything you use, you don't need to really send somebody to
So go and
you
be
need to buy
buying,
this, you
yeah.
need to buy that. And I think that's how it should be. To be fair, because
Yeah.
it's not matter of okay, I could not find this particular drug,
So
and
I can't treat
I
you.
can't treat you.
Yeah.
So in that point, if the drug is not available, the pharmacy and doctor are able to like talk about it. That,
Liaise,
okay,
yeah.
I think we can use this substitute for this
Instead of
patient
that.
instead of this, which makes the work easy. To be fair,
Yeah, but the fact still remains that regardless of if you have to buy it out of your pocket or you like at the point of use or you just pay for it when you are paying your total bill,
yeah,
you still pay for it.
yes,
But in the UK, you don't pay for
yes,
it.
don't pay for it.
Don't.
So that's why it's easy for them to like wake up in the morning today, they switch you from Coamoxiclav to Tazocine,
Yeah.
or from Tazocine
And
they
you
say,
can just get it like
oh,
almost
Tazocine,
Even if
immediately.
you
yeah.
have an open heart surgery, it's free. Free.
So
If
like
you
that's
spend,
just
if you
different.
do an open heart surgery in Nigeria or do a
You
surgery
pay
where
through
we
your
came
nose.
from, you must be rich to be able to
Yes,
afford
so-
that.
Honest, exactly.
It's
But
not
this one, no
like
matter how
100%
great the
affordable.
surgery is, Nah, you
Just
don't need.
relax.
Just
I'll be
relax.
taken care of.
Even some patients, when you want to give them food or something, they be like, "I don't have money to pay. I'm not with my card." You have to remind them that
That
it's
is
free,
free,
that you
yeah.
don't have to
Yeah.
pay for anything at all, which is very nice.
It is coming
Yeah,
from where we come from.
Uh,
it's
It
really
I'm
really
is.
last place
nice.
that I work, to be precise. By the time they slap you with your bill, you begin to rethink your decision of coming to that hospital. You, if you don't have money, don't just near there.
It just
But the
feels
thing is,
like,
they will give you the value for your money.
yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask a question. I don't know. I am not sure about it. So if I, as like I'm not up to 65, I get admitted in the hospital and I'm sick. Is the drugs and everything also going to be free for me?
That's what I don't know.
So I think that from my word, because we would discharge patients, they would give you things as basic as
Uh,
TTAs, basic paid meds,
Okay, you have
like,
children, you have like young people in your ward.
oh
sorry,
You have
yeah.
young people in your ward.
we have all types of
Okay,
Yeah,
people.
okay,
I've
okay.
worked in Robin Smith before, and I remember I had to attend to a guy that was 23 or 24 years old. And I don't think I remember them telling him he had to pay for anything.
That's what
And
I'm
he was
saying.
on
Yeah.
If you come,
IVs.
I think that if you come to the hospital,
Yeah, you get the
If they
health
you will
care.
if they
get
admit you,
everything
Yeah,
that you need to have.
yeah.
Some things as basic as painkillers, that's paracetamol,
painkillers,
ibuprofen, codeine,
antibiotics,
dihydrocodeine, they will give you.
flu
Um,
therapy.
and even if they are not like TTAs that you have on the ward, it could come from the pharmacy and you don't have to pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking, I'm not sure. It could be that you have to pay for it if it's coming from the GP.
Well, I
Okay, to be
feel
fair now with your explanation, I think if it's a GP prescription, you
You would
pay.
pay. But
Yeah,
if you
but if
yeah.
go
it's
into
an
the
admission
hospital
to
and they are
okay.
discharging you out of the hospital, they
Yeah.
will give you everything that you
Yeah.
need
The
to
reason why
have
I'm
to
asking is
recover.
because I work with like 65 years above and I know it's free in the UK, so I don't know the way it works for like younger people and
Well, one
We
thing
have
I know,
influx of everyone and we
yeah,
just give them TTAs and they
one
go
thing I
home.
know for sure is that even the TTAs that they give you, I think the highest they give is 2 weeks supply.
Yeah,
So when you
true.
get your 2 weeks supply from the hospital, if you need to get like a refill, then your GP does that. So probably you might have to pay for that when your GP
I'm
refills,
really not
but
sure about that
I
one.
actually
I'm not
don't
sure.
know. And I don't know if they have like a plan for people with like lifelong
Okay, to
conditions
be
and things like
I
that.
don't think it works like that because if you are giving a young person, what other treatment will you be treating a young person for two
That's
weeks
what I'm
above?
saying,
Do you
that
get?
if the
For
person
older
has a
people, you know that they're
long-term
on Parkinson's
condition.
med, which is for life, and they need refills and all. But if it's a young person that maybe I had an appendectomy and it has
You
been
probably
treated and
just
all,
need like a week's
Yeah, a
yeah,
week
that kind of
dose
supply
thing.
of
of
So yeah,
antibiotics or
antibiotics.
so they don't
paracetamol.
need
As nurses, we would, talk about roles, we'll talk about responsibilities. So let's a bit like for a few seconds, let's just or a few minutes, let's talk about how when you come to the UK, if you are going to be working as a cleaner, they are literally going to tell you everything that they
Yeah,
expect you
your
to
roles are
do.
well
They
defined.
are like they put everything on the table so that there will not be any excuse not to do what is expected of you.
Hmm.
So you will not come and say, "Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that," because they've literally said everything to you, and you're expected to act accordingly. So I worked in one hospital. I think I had mentioned it like one of my vlogs one time like that. I worked at that hospital because I was tired of staying at home after my internship here. I decided to focus on my business for a bit, and then I got tired. I'm like, okay, let me look for a job. And in the time that I was looking for a job, I got one very, I would call it measly, because I took that job out of, let me just not be staying at home doing business alone. Do you
Hmm.
understand? And hey, you people, I'm just going to like give a summary. When I got there, they didn't have a uniform for me. For the first 3 days that I worked there, I worked with Mufti. You people listen, no, I worked with Mufti, and then no one came to no what's that letter that they give you when you
Appointment.
Letter of
appointment letter.
appointment.
No one gave me an appointment letter. No one came to me to say, oh, these are the things that we expect of you as a registered
No
nurse
job description.
slash midwife. Listen, no one gave me a letter to categorically state how much I was going to be earning per month.
By job.
Listen,
I know.
like no one did any one of those things.
How do
So
you know
I
how much we're
worked
going
there.
to take home?
I had an
Sorry.
interview now.
Oh,
So
they told you. as per-
hey, we've agreed, but at the end of the day, these things need to be legal. They need to be
Yeah.
documented. You know, it was so bad that relax. It was so bad that they gave me someone that went on sick leave. They
Yeah.
gave me a scrub to wear for the meantime, and they were like, "Oh, the tailor will come, and then um take your measurement." For 1 month that I worked in that place, I did not see any tailor. And then at the end of the first month, I was already getting, because a lot of things were now already happening. I was the one trying to figure out my job role,
Hmm.
trying to figure out what was expected of me as a nurse. And I had like a lot of issues, especially with, and the owner of the hospital, it was a very small hospital, anyways, was also a doctor.
Of course.
And it was more like anytime he comes in, there's this fear. Everybody will just be running up and down. And I was the only macho there that, could have a conversation with him and not be running into hiding the way the other people were. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the month rather, let's say that we agreed on 100K, and then I got 60,000 naira as my pay.
Waiting can do the remaining
40K
40K. Oh, no,
You see what? I didn't even say anything. I just did my last shift that day. And I told the head of nursing that time, I said I will not be coming back. So the rest of the shift, just fix it.
Sort it out.
And that's how I left that place. And then they called me to say, oh, you did not resign the way you should resign.
Did
I
I
said,
get
did you employ me the way you should have employed me? I said, peradventure in that 1 month, right, I was walking on the road and the police stops me to say, show me a means of identification of where you work. I didn't even have an ID card.
Yeah, you are going far.
There was nothing that could identify me
going
to the
far.
hospital to say, oh, this is where I work. Like no form of documentation at all. Like it did not just make sense to me. And when I got another job at the last hospital I worked, they asked for like a referral, something like that. So I like straight up there, I told the HR, I said, I did not have a very nice experience with the last place I worked. Hence the reason why I was even looking for a job here. I said so, because he then later called me and told me, oh, the last place that you worked, they said this and that about you. I said, if I had the time, I would sue them and they will pay me fine and clean. I will sue them and I will collect my money like this. I will be balling. Like he was just looking at me. I said, because no one, and with the place that I worked, for like the first 2 weeks that I was there, I'm telling you, proper documentation, e even tire me to fill form. Because I just the fill form, they go, the fill form, they go. I was just filling forms here and there. I was like, this is how it should be. If I go outside, I had 2 types of ID cards that I could say I am a staff of so and so hospital. But in that other place, I didn't have anything to show for it.
Once we had like a contract, if you see the pages,
see.
You see, I think
Even here when we were coming, we had contracts.
yeah, we
now.
had contract.
So
I think me, I've been lucky to work in the hospitals here, and here. So I interned with like a government hospital. It was all now Shege Banza Pro. Plus it was the COVID era, so it was kind of taxing, busy, and all of that. But my first actual job, like as a nurse, was like in a private hospital owned by a doctor. No,
Oh,
not that one, not
okay.
that. So I got my first job. The first job I took on, it was meant to be like a locum, But eventually the owner was like,
Then
but since I don't have a job at the
Yeah.
moment, I could stay there till I was ready to leave. So I was offered 45K per month.
Wow.
But to be honest, the reason why I stayed at the job was because it was like a stone throw from my house.
Yeah.
But believe you me, when I say 45K, I worked blood and sweat for that 45K. You know, my parents at the point, they had to like, you don't have a life of your own.
They moved that.
No, the hospital was paying tax, so every month you get 45K. But Ife, Dayton, nurse as, you know when they say nurse as everything, still I did it. Nurse as a cleaner, nurse as a peri-op nurse, as a theater staff, as a scrub nurse,
circulating
as
nurse.
a circulating nurse, as a surgery assistant. What they say they call them?
Yeah.
Assistant, the one that used to assist the surgeon. I did the first assist. You did everything. Nurse as a security, as a guard, as a receptionist.
Excuse me.
I say everything, as a phlebotomist. In a way, yeah, my experience there, it helped shape me a bit, because it was there I learned how to site cannulas, take blood samples and do some basic things, but it wasn't worth it. At a point I had to like think of my life and say, what am I doing? And I left the job. I think he even attempted to like increase my pay.
To what?
To what?
Exactly. 50K. So he said he was going to increase my pay to 50K. I'm like, I know what my mates are earning. I know what they are earning outside. So why would I stay out of loyalty to you because I want to earn 50K?
50K is a stretch.
It was not like we're not like every other private hospitals. We can't pay him. And I said, don't worry. I'm not collecting
I'm not
50K.
angry, but I'm not collecting.
I know what 50K is. He can't do shit for me. I like, even that month I had to like spend out of the money I had in my savings. But like 50K in Lagos, I had my apartment. I was paying rent, paying utilities,
Come
everything. Like nobody was funding me, and I was surviving off 50K
Nobody was
salary.
sponsoring your lifestyle.
Nobody. I didn't have a lifestyle. I didn't have a lifestyle because by the time, but the good thing was that you pay your rent yearly. So you already paid upfront.
yeah,
So
you
but
have
then by the
quite
time
a
you
while.
transport, buy things,
How much do you have
how much
left?
is 45K? It was nothing. I just had to leave. Like, coming to the UK, it was different.
Of course,
As
you
a
will.
nurse, like you can even, if you have, I even realized that as a nurse you have a say in the care plan of your patients.
Yeah.
If you have a recommendation for the doctors, you can tell it to them and say, oh, this my patient, this is this, this is that, I think we can do this, and they will put like whatever you say into consideration. And sometimes they can even say, oh, this plan of action would be beneficial
Better,
to the patient,
yeah.
and they would use it. And then another thing I like about working like in the nursing in the UK is that a patient is spiking a temperature, you don't have to wait for the doctor. There are some basic things. There's a temperature spike, there's this, the thing is take blood culture, check urine outputs, do this, do that. The only thing I know you can't give is if a medication is not on a prescription, you can't
then you
administer.
can't.
But once it's there, you do it. And then another
In fact,
thing
it's even expected that you should have done all of those
Yes.
things before you now pick the
Phone
phone to
like
call
call
the
the
doctor to say,
doctor.
oh, this patient is having this and that.
Yeah.
The doctor would expect
You to have
for you
done
to
those things.
tell him that, oh, I've done this,
Yeah.
I've done that, I've done. They will now think of, okay, she has done all of these things. What is next?
And the thing is, when you even call them, you are not just calling them to like tell
To
them
report back.
a patient has this thing. Oh, my patient has this, has
Like, you
this,
tell them,
has
my
that.
patient-
I've done this, I've done
Yeah.
that. What do you think we should
Yeah.
do? So
Yeah.
that's like the next thing.
So that one was even like surprising to me in a way, because I had a patient that had maybe was not breathing well and his heart rate was kind of high, and immediately the next thing was, even before we called the doctor, when I just came there I was still shadowing under someone, and she's like, okay, we're going to do the ECG now. In my mind I'm like, but doctor has not said we should do ECG. And she's like, no, that the first thing we do an ECG.
Yeah, do ECG.
And when you're done with the ECG and you monitor the patients, then you call them. When you call them, you give them the details. Okay, ECG has been done, blood pressure is this on, that one, that one. So when they come, they already
They have what to
they
work
have
with.
something.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
made the much
And you
sense.
don't even have to, there are some other basic tests that you don't even need to like tell the doctors before you do it. I have a patient with loose stools.
Yeah.
I know
Send
that,
sample.
oh, send
CD for
samples
neuro.
for CD for neuro. I actually can make the order for the test
Yes.
myself. Even the blood culture. This morning I had to like, because I did the night shift, so I had to like do the warfarin dose check for a patient. If I was in Nigeria, I'm sure it had to be the doctor that would
Yeah.
prescribe the that would
That we even come to take the
request
sample.
you know,
If
yeah,
he
take
was
the
my own
sample.
hospital.
But this one I had to like order for the INR test. I took the sample and I sent it to the laboratory. All the doctors need to do when they come in is
Just check
review the results, either they reduce the dose or they withhold it or things like that. So like you are carried along in the care of the patient.
Yeah.
And I think they value the fact that you spend more time with the patient.
So you have more
Do you
inputs.
do you attend MDT in your ward?
MDT meeting.
MDT meeting.
No.
In our, I think
So
it's something they
it's
do
like
in
a
our ward.
whiteboard
Yeah,
meeting.
whiteboard meeting.
They talk about all the patients.
Yeah.
Like how doctors are doing handover. You
Yeah.
are there. So we have a board that
Yeah.
each day we talk about each patient with their nurse and their doctor, the plan of care for the patient.
Yeah,
what we
don't do
Yeah.
that.
So in our own, the physio team is there. The
Yeah.
doctors are there.
The
The even
manager
what's
is there.
Joe's
The
discharge coordinator is
everybody
there.
Ah.
Yeah, so when they would ask you, this is our patient, we saw the patient yesterday, it was this, it was that. Physio, what's your take? Physio would input. Okay, and then from the nursing aspect, any changes, any this thing.
Oh my god, that's
Yes.
so nice.
And if they want to discharge a patient, the discharge coordinator will come to you and say, I'm like working on the discharge for this patient. I need some information. How is this patient? Do you think this patient can do this? Do you think the patient can go with that?
Patient can walk.
So like everybody is carried along. They make you
Everybody
feel
is involved.
Like
Yeah.
you are working as a nurse and you are carried like in everything concerning the patient. Unlike Nigeria, that the doctor will just come, they will carry
They are literally backing orders.
yeah, they'll carry
honestly.
even when they do ward rounds in Nigeria, you'll be lucky to see, I think it's just maybe the senior nursing officer or something that goes with them on their ward round. They will just
that's
come.
different for us. So.
Really? In general hospital?
No, I mean
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about general hospital. Like the real hospitals in Nigeria where everything is government per se. Like most times is maybe just the senior nursing officer or the chief nursing officer that is on them when they do their ward rounds. And then they just go around the patient, they review, they write in the notes, and they just drop it there. They tell you, you have to do that, you have to do this, you have to do that. And your own is just yes and amen.
But to be fair, the government hospital I worked in, they don't do that. So when they are going on ward one, they go with the nurse. So any updates, the house officer knows, the nurse also knows.
Not
so
when you are short-staffed. Imagine a ward.
Because in Lasut, I've worked a night shift, a bit 2 night shifts rather, where we were 3 nurses to 33 patients.
Yes, you are short-staffed.
Yeah.
Imagine when you have 2 nurses to like, I can never forget neuro, neuro ward. I don't know what they call it in Lasut, but it was 2 nurses to that wing. And imagine you having to monitor patients, the neuro patients, 2 nurses, and then you have our other nurses per se that are on duty, but their only
not
duty
working.
is to come and write the shift notes.
The
ward
work that they did not do.
Yeah, exactly. They will write at the end of the day. Imagine you having that bulk of patients and workload, and a doctor is telling me to go for ward round that they would take like 30 minutes to go round, and I have a lot of things to do. So it's not something that is feasible. So one person just goes and comes back to like report, or the doctors will do the ward round and they will now tell you what they feel you should know.
Let's just quickly link that up with patient nurse ratio in the UK, because like we just quickly talked about, and I just reflected quickly, or rather I remembered quickly in Lasut how the nurse to patient ratio was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But the last place that I worked, before I came to the UK was much better
That's
because it was a
because
private
it's private
hospital.
and they like follow the
But
WHO guidelines.
if I'm being fair,
But
Seth,
NHS is worse than
exactly
the
that,
last time I went.
that was what I wanted to say.
This place
Because
have like
even
7
here now,
patients, and
we
then they have
think
just 4.
Yeah.
people in Nigeria would probably think that, oh, the nurse to patient ratio is better,
No,
but
It's worse.
it's not better.
it's not.
It is not better because on my last shift, I nursed 9 patients,
Yeah, I think
and
you
they
had
had
to
to
nurse
open
8.
the escalation bed in my ward because, of course, they needed to admit another person. So it was more like converting a big space. So a particular bed space is quite big on my ward. So they figured that they can and create
A
space for
place they
another
can
bed.
divide it
So they
into.
just demarcated it with something, and they
crazy.
inserted another bed.
That's
So
crazy.
the workload or the patient ratio is not any better.
No.
If we are being honest,
I feel like it's
not any
even
better.
more
It's not
because in the UK here you give total care.
right.
You give total care in the UK, unlike in Nigeria that
The
there is
relatives
always a
can come in
relatives.
to do things here.
Yeah.
The relatives will
They are not
like
always
they will literally
available.
drop their hands,
You do
and you have to do
everything.
every single thing
Yeah.
for them alongside your HCA, of course. And that's if God blesses you and you have a reasonable HCA. Let's not forget that, because some of them are even liabilities rather than helpers. I don't know how to sugarcoat that one, honestly. But I've been very lucky that I've not had like so much experience with the bad ones. But I always see and hear.
Mm.
Me, I can hear, but I won't say anything.
The thing is, you can't escape it. You just need to. You just at the end of the day know
Just
how
put
to
your
shake
mind
it
that
off.
you are
Just
the one
dust
that you
off
are
that.
doing.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the time that I had someone like that, I just always zeroed my mind to say I'm the only one working.
I learned how to use their ECG machine in the UK from an HA, from an HCA, not from a nurse. That's how
Wow.
it is different in the UK. I even realized 2 weeks ago that I found out rather that 2 weeks ago that HAs are allowed to catheterize female patients and also take samples.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
insert
true.
cannulas.
They are.
Unlike in Nigeria, where
But they have
I
to be
think
trained.
yeah, they have to be trained. But once they are trained, they can insert. Also, we too, we have to go through trainings to like do
Yeah,
catheterization
true.
and cannula. So it's the same thing. It's only the only difference is that they are allowed to do it to some level, unlike in Nigeria
Right.
where you can't even do
You
it
can't.
at all.
You cannot.
Even taking samples or inserting cannulas in Nigeria, especially in general hospitals, we all know that it's
You
the doctors
can't.
that do
You
it.
can't.
In fact, there is always this I don't know, argument on social media, the who is meant to do this, who is meant to do that, what the doctors should
Because
be
they feel,
doing,
yeah,
and what
I
they
remember
shouldn't be
there was
doing.
one time like that topic was on Twitter, and I'd seen one comment like, if the nurses start cannulating, then what would be left for the house
Yeah,
officers
she
to do?
get. So like there is
It's
always
just a
that
very
this is my job, this is not your job. But in the UK it's like in here,
as long as it gets
the
done.
doctors can take samples. Sometimes
Yeah.
they will just be too busy. They will just print out the stickers and tell you to take the sample.
I think the reason for that question sometimes because doctors they have like a cadre that they run through and all. And most time all those house officers, so some of them are just like coming from the university. Some of them don't even have experience even with their training, their 6 years and all. So that internship for some people it's like a way of them
A learning
learning
ground, yeah.
okay, there's some people like let's say someone that studied in Ukraine, they don't use human being as
No, they
patient
don't.
there.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
use
they
dummies.
don't. They use
don't allow them to
dummies.
treat on their patient.
No.
So when they come to Nigeria to do their internship, they learn
Wow.
every single thing
Yeah,
on the job.
on the job. Yeah.
So in that way, let's say someone that's never candulated before, obviously is learning how to candulate in that job. If you take the job away from
you take
them,
away the opportunity.
for
we
them,
too
they
we
are
want
left
to
with
learn.
nothing.
Yeah.
They are left
So
with
the
nothing.
nurses
So-
also want to learn. So how about make it everyone's job to do it, and it's not just specific?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why they do it. It's everyone's job.
But I
The
feel
thing is
like
that just let's make it done.
I feel like in Nigeria we are very heavy on, okay, this is my job, this is not my job, this is my job, this is not my job. And
Yeah.
that's because there is no clear, will I say, description of what you are meant to
Yeah,
do. Even if there is
true.
like a clear description or like a role, they define your roles.
Yeah,
They
it's
still
very
expect you
defined.
at a point to compromise, because they'll be like, oh, we don't have enough manpower, we can't do this. If
Yeah,
a doctor in the UK asks me to take a sample and I can't take the sample,
you go
I will
back to
tell
him.
him I can't take the sample.
Yeah,
In fact, if they bring the stickers to you and they tell you take the sample, you are obliged to tell them, if I can't take the sample, I will let you know. And they are more than happy
some of
to
them
come
would
take the
even tell
sample.
you, if you just give it a try. If you
Yeah.
cannot, just bring me back to let me
Yeah.
know.
And some of them will just go ahead to like take the samples or
Yeah,
do the
without saying anything.
ECG or whatever it is that they have to do. It's just medication, maybe medication. Even sometimes they give the medication, because there was a time when I had like a poorly patient on the ward, and then the doctor was like, we needed to do this, we needed to do that. It was like, okay, just give me the medication. He gave the medication. All I needed to do was just sign it up because already it's prescribed. So it's like everybody is actively working for the benefit, like
Yeah, the main thing
betterment
is for
of
the
the
patient to be
patient.
fine,
You
not
get,
Yeah.
necessarily
not
who is
like
doing
it's my
you.
job rule, it's not my
Yeah.
job
Right.
rule.
So the next thing we're going to be talking about, this one, I find it very bizarre that it still happens in Nigeria. So there is something that is called priorities of care here.
Oh, yeah.
Like in this
End of life,
in the
yeah.
UK, we face realities when it comes to health. So if you notice that your patient is, piping
Deteriorating,
down,
yeah.
deteriorating when it comes to health, you, how will I say it? You act accordingly with what they want for like the care that you render going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask them if they want to be resuscitated, peradventure anything happens. You ask them the level of care that they are willing to
Yeah.
receive going forward. So I have resuscitated a 95-year-old
You
woman.
do CPR
So I've
until
done,
you
I've
can't
done
do
CPR
CPR no more in
for for
Nigeria.
for for a 95-year-old woman before, and the family members were there outside and were shouting that we were not doing enough,
Yeah.
and they were even considering taking her to the ICU.
Mm.
Where I worked, if you want first payment for us to even say, okay, we've accepted you into the ICU, you're going to deposit 2 million naira first. So okay, you have the money, I understand. How about the quality of life? Let's even assume that we are able to resuscitate her. What quality of life do you expect her to have when she comes back?
Yeah.
And they are very big on that in the UK, because some of them would rather die than become a liability when they are being
Yeah.
resuscitated, or be in a vegetative state and
Yeah, and
not
have
be
to
able to
like,
do anything and just
stress
become like a
their,
problem for their
yeah, for
family
the
members.
family.
But in Nigeria, if we see it to the end,
They feel like you keep doing something on you until you
it's
can do
like
nothing.
Push or
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
we see it to the end. I have had a patient who's had like a what's that end like a end of life ailment. Let me put it
Yeah.
like that. I don't want to be specific. And it was obvious
That the
that this
patient will make
woman
it.
was going to die.
Yeah.
It was obvious. But we kept giving antibiotics, we kept giving fluids,
Push.
we kept administering oxygen.
They will keep doing
The woman
everything they
ended
can.
up dying. But I don't know. I think as Africans, so it feels like a love and hate situation where we hold our families very close, but we struggle to let them go. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
We struggle to let them go. But here, they are big on quality of life.
Yeah.
They just prefer the person to die peacefully.
Even
And
the person prefers.
Yes.
Instead of going
The
through
person
like a
prefers,
lot.
because they will ask the patient, what do you want? Peradventure this happens. Peradventure you get a cardiac arrest. Do you want us to go the extra mile to resuscitate you? Do you, even if we resuscitate you, is ITU on the options of your list? Would you rather us take you to ITU and try to bring you back to life?
I think
All these things.
Or
when
should
I
we leave you
yeah.
to just die like that?
Yeah.
when I came to
Yes.
the UK, I realized that they start preparing for death. I think from the age when they are sensible enough to make decisions for themselves.
Right.
So you don't have to be like 65, 50. You even when
It
you
also
have
depends on
conversation
your
with them,
health.
yes, when you have conversation with like young people, they will tell you, if I'm old, I don't think I would want my family to go through this. I don't want. So they have that preparedness level
Yeah.
already. And then I think probably maybe they have an age in the UK where when you get to this particular age, or when you have like some
65.
condition, they start telling you, they like put you to make this life plan or life decision. So what do you want to happen to you when you are faced with a deadly
Life
situation or
condition,
life threatening
threatening condition.
situation? So
Yeah.
what would you want us to do? And even when I tried to read their do not resuscitate form, there was even something that says we should not resuscitate you in certain situation, but if it is something that you can recover from, we can take you to the ICU. So I don't want you to do CPR for me, but if I can survive this situation when I'm in the ICU, then take me to the ICU. And some of them will just opt like out for don't do anything,
Don't do anything.
don't give me any antibiotics, don't no pain relief, nothing.
I think
nothing.
I think it's always termed as no active treatment.
Ye-
There's a phrase that
yeah,
they
they
use.
have
I can't
something
remember.
they call it.
But you are basically not doing anything. You're just keeping them, according to the definition of Nightingale, nurse to a peaceful death.
Peaceful day. You know,
really,
Yeah, they
that
try
they
to-
take it
nurse
to
them
heart.
to-
Yeah.
the peaceful day. You know, when I first manned my ward, like I manned a ward for the first time, I had a patient on priorities of care, and there's a medication that they usually give in their syringe driver, and
yeah.
they give PRN. And I noticed that by the time patients start taking this particular drug, their condition goes from this to this.
Obviously.
Because it makes them constantly drowsy.
Yeah.
And then I began to question myself. I said, are these people doing euthanasia? But then I'm like, it's not like they are trying to make them,
It's
kill
I
them.
think the side
They are
effect
just
of that drug is
yeah, it makes
Yeah.
them it like makes them unnecessarily comfortable. So
But
they will be
the idea
very
is for them to be comfortable.
Exactly. And then it makes them very drowsy. And imagine when you are already in a poorly state and then you take Midas, it makes
That's
you
why they always
drowsy.
prescribe Naxolone.
Yes, it makes you
So that
drowsy.
if you feel like your patient is too drowsy, then you can give the Naxolone.
Well, to be fair, I thought you should give PRN
No,
midazolam.
I don't like giving PRN midazolam.
I've never given
But the
Because
patients relatives sometimes
patients
they are
die after
learned,
giving
they
PRN
know,
midazolam.
and they would ask
Wow.
you for midazolam. They will. They would ask you. They
That's
say
wrong.
some of them. So the thing is, they provide the relatives with whatever information that they need on like priorities of care and whatever, like the aftermath and everything. So they know what to expect, and they are already preparing themselves for the
towards
the
it.
death of the patient.
I once had a patient. She's old and she really can't do things by herself, but she's sensible, and she's like telling me, don't go, don't go." I'm like,
It's
are you joking?
It's a lot. And there's something.
I'm like, if I
You
had
are
a look
serious?
for me, I will go in Jesus' name. And now she asked, do you still want to go? I said, of course. She said, why do you want to go? It's not nice going on. I said, where I come from is a good thing to go.
Yeah.
Let me go.
There's something they do. I don't know if do you guys have priorities of care patients in your ward a lot. There's something they do in our trust that when a patient is on end of life, the bereavement team or the palliative team, they bring this heart team in pairs.
Yes.
So they
do
like
that.
put one with
We
the
even have it like we
patient.
have a trolley
Yeah,
for
we
priorities
do.
of care.
We do. They give them this heart thingy. So because recently I had one, the lady was very bad, and then the husband came to visit, and he knew that she was not going to make it. And then when he left, 5 minutes after, she passed on. So what we did was we gave the heart one heart to
You put one hand
the
on the body
body,
and then
Yeah.
and
one
we
hand
sent one heart to the husband. So it's like a way of them remembering,
connecting.
connecting, and knowing that they are still with each
Oh.
other. And then they have this support.
Yeah.
You know, when someone is on end of life, they have the spiritual care.
Yeah.
Is she Muslim? Is she atheist? Is she whatever it
And they
is?
have
They come
enough
people.
information.
Yeah, and then there's a
on how to go
booklet.
through the bereavement
They
process.
have a we
Yeah.
They
have
have
a
a
bereavement
booklet
pack.
that you
Yeah.
give to the family.
Yeah.
So support for the family
What
after
next?
death.
Yeah,
What next? And even if you don't have a family, there is like a plan on how they take care of your body.
Can I quickly digress a bit? So, as nurses here, when a patient dies, we
Yeah.
would definitely do last office.
Yeah.
Do you recollect how last office is
Ah,
done
it's
in
different
Nigeria?
though.
Exactly.
It
In
is
fact, that's just to
different.
digress a bit.
It is completely
because
different.
you are expected to still speak to your patient dead
yes.
as though
Mrs.
the
Jones.
patient is alive.
It is different. No, it is different.
It took me a while to get used to that.
It is different.
If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
it did take me a while, but I mean, I just thought to, you know,
And
chip
It's
that
so
in real
simple
quick.
and
Very-
it's so simple and short.
Yeah, and they're still very careful.
Yeah.
They still hold the person. Put
You
the
still
labels
take
in their hand,
consent.
put
Yeah, they
You
don't
still-
tie. You know, we
yeah,
used
you
to
still
tie
do all
the
those
hands
things.
together, tie legs. They don't do, and they have like a body pack
But yeah,
that they make you all suited, dress you up to go.
next up, we're going to talk about maternity leaves and holidays. Where I was working, yeah, we only had 1 month annual leave. But here, nah,
I'm
I can't
always
even
on-
remember. I'm always on leave.
I'm
every
always
month.
on leave. I said someone had to ask me, say, I'm sorry. How do you go on annual leave every month? I'm like, it's because I space out my annual leave.
Yeah,
I take a week,
Every
5
single
days
month, yeah.
every month, and
That's
then by
it.
the time you spread it out, you
you realize that
that
you're on
you
leave
have,
every
like,
single
enough
month.
time.
That's exactly what
And
I
if you
did too.
plan your rota, because you have the opportunity to speak to your whoever is in charge of the rota,
Yeah,
they can make you do like night shifts before you have 3 days off. And some of them, they say that, okay, your annual leave, you might have plans to travel. So they try to give you 2 days before and 2
2 days after.
Yeah.
So,
we
that
know
you come back from
yeah,
your trip and then you can
you
still
rest
rest
and
before
then
you
come
come back
back.
to
My
work.
brother was like, anytime I call you, you're always on leave.
annual leave.
He said, are you sure that I've not sacked you?
Yeah, so it like the work is very demanding and stressful.
Obviously,
but
but
then
there's still time to rest.
Yeah, there's opportunity for you to, you know, begin
And
your
to just
leave is 1 year. Oh yeah. To get pregnant.
yeah, maternity leave.
to just quickly link that up, like still speaking of holidays here, we're also speaking on, you know, maximizing your pay.
Yeah.
So in Nigeria,
There is no maximizing your pay in Nigeria.
like, let's be honest here, you cannot exactly maximize your pay
Did you say
because
you cannot? You cannot. You cannot even say you can't.
When you want to travel,
You can't.
with such money.
Is it Yanapaja you're going to? You can't.
Even in Lagos, maybe you want to go to
I'm
the
telling you,
Outside
you still
is
cannot.
outside is expensive.
You see, literally,
Imagine
you
going to
still
a 5-star
cannot.
restaurant on the island. in
Like
Lagos.
just for lunch with your friends, you still like
You dey whine.
you would have to, you know, add money for months before you be able to literally do that. But here, ladies and gentlemen, it's not
that easy.
it's not the life,
No.
but it is doable here.
Yeah.
That's what we are saying.
It's
Okay.
just funny.
Yeah, you just have to plan. So if you know that you want to go on an holiday maybe next year January,
Mhm.
and you've done your research and your holiday is going to probably cost you £1,000, you would have calculated how you're going to be maybe taking out £100 every month from your pay, or you carry it and put it on bank shift.
Yeah, there is opportunity for you to
By
do
the
overtime.
time you do maybe two bank shifts every month, holiday and extra, you
complete.
already have it.
Yeah, to be fair,
Holiday is some ground.
the last
get?
hospital I worked in before I came to the UK, there was that opportunity to like work extra shifts and get paid. But it is you don't have that opportunity in all hospitals
Yeah.
because you would be understaffed and you would suffer it.
See,
there is nothing like
even to be fair, even if
overtime.
there was, I mean,
Most people won't do it.
even if it was there for you to do the locum, as they call it then. How much were you even
Yeah, how
getting?
much are you getting?
See,
Like
even
your
me
very
now,
normal
I was
pay.
doing the locum like I wanted to die. But at the end of it,
The money was worth it.
yes, it was like in Nigeria aspect, it was
Yeah.
worth it. But even if I do 10 locum in a month, even with the 10 locum,
It's not worth the
what
stress.
can where can I go to?
The
Do you
UK is
understand?
expensive, but
But if you do at least 3 extra shifts in a month,
Yeah, I can
that's
go for a trip.
reasonable
yes,
money.
now you can go
That's
for a
holiday
trip.
money.
Yes, you can travel. The
So
UK is expensive,
it's
but in a
just
way, it's
more
still cost
is yeah,
effective.
is more livable. I would put it
Yeah.
like that.
Cost of living is not, well, it's not in like all round, like not every aspect, but
Actually,
then there are some part like food
yeah.
is not expensive.
I
As
think
such.
the only thing about cost of living in the UK to me is like apartment, even housing.
And it
It
depends on
depends
where
on the
you stay.
location.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends on the location.
Your bills take up like half of your pay.
Yeah.
But when you remove your bills, like when you take out your bills and all of that, you can comfortably survive on the rest of your pay for the
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
And if you are not someone that like overspends, like spends a lot, spends unwisely, you might have a little change left in your account by the time your next pay is coming in.
And you can even do something with that,
Yes.
really.
When I go for my grocery shopping, I shop at Lidl. I can comfortably say this month I'm not going to spend more than £50 in Lidl to buy everything. And I'm not talking about African store everything.
Yeah.
But you can spend your salary.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, if you shop from African store, you whatever you buy from African store, you
Will
don't
last
finish
you
it
a
in
while.
a
Yes,
month.
you can.
So when you do your bulk buy, you know that for the next 3
last
months,
week for 6
I went
months,
to African
be fair.
store in I went in June.
We went in June.
I went in June, and then the stuff I bought in June, I spent I think over £100. I still have more than half of what I bought, and
In
believe you
June,
me,
and we're in August.
I don't have the plan of going to an African store until October. So imagine me stocking up.
President General among the nation.
I think it's like that.
Yeah, so
I went to African store in June too, and I didn't spend £100. I'm sorry, I think I spent like 40 something pounds. But I'm not going to go to the end of the year.
yeah, so it depends. That's what
We
I'm saying.
salute you.
No, it does depend on
It
what
depends
you
on
need
it
and-
depends on your. So I'm
yeah.
just saying that even if you have to spend up to like £200 in
Yeah,
an
it's for a
African
long
store,
time.
it's for like a long time. You don't have a family. If it's that you have
Yeah.
family, you know,
Yeah.
you are feeding for more than 2 people.
Yeah.
But so it makes it easy for you to like plan how to spend your expenses,
Yeah.
and then to eat is not too expensive. If you want to go fine dining, there's a restaurant in Bristol that I think to do a buffet service is like how much, £25 or so, and then you eat
Ladies
all
and
you want, so
gentlemen.
£25.
Do you want to go? It's just £25.
But in Nigeria, before you can eat something like that, you'll be thinking 50k. How much is your salary that you want to spend 50k in one sitting?
But last but not the least, to just round up this video, we're quickly going to talk about sick leave. And we're going to talk about sick leave
I think
and
that's
the culture behind having to take sick leaves in the UK versus in Nigeria.
You don't have to be sick to take sick leave.
You don't have to be actively sick.
You
to
don't have
go
to be
like-
near sick.
You can just be unstable, like maybe
unstable
mentally. You can be literally calling sick. If
Yeah.
that's sick to them.
Yeah.
Essentially, here in the UK, what I would interpret it is if you cannot come to work and be the best version of yourself,
Yes. If there's
you are
anything, if there's anything that will stop you from giving
the
your
total care
your
as
that you're
total.
expected to give, then
Yeah.
sis, bro,
That's
you are
what-
sick. You are sick. Take that sick leave.
Even if you are not
Okay.
happy. So
Yes.
there was a time I had like an issue and I was not so fine then, and I was like, okay, I'm taking I need a sick leave. I'm not going to be able to come to work for the next 2 days and all. And in my rota, I can see mental something, anxiety, depression. I'm like,
I'm not depressed.
so I just told my manager that I don't feel I'm in the right state of mind. She said, "Oh, that's fine. You know, it happens to even the best of us. That's fine. You don't need to come to work. Just let us know how
You
many
made it
days you've been
depressed.
sick. And all. And the
Yeah.
next thing, my daughter already saw anxiety, depression,
Straight
mental
up.
illness. I'm like, well, okay,
Meanwhile,
no problem. I take it.
meanwhile, in Nigeria,
You must be sick.
Brothers
your
and sisters.
colleagues will even guilt trip you. Like you are honestly sick.
Sick.
Imagine somebody
See,
saying, "You don't
there
look
were
sick.
days
Oh.
that
I need to look like I'm
I'm telling you
dying."
that I was down with malaria, and you know malaria, when it can eat you sometimes, that it would almost feel like you have COVID.
Yeah.
I had that one time, and I was on night shift for 3 days, and I had it on like the second day. I'm telling you that I couldn't walk. So, of course, I'm a staff now. I go downstairs, I see the doctor, and the doctor admits me and says, "No, you're too weak to continue this shift." And my colleague upstairs is angry that I am sick.
Is you to be sick now?
Like, make it make sense.
You to be sick.
I definitely don't have the capacity to work this shift, but you are pissed. And I can understand that because, of course, it means that our workload goes up
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. And
But
to be
it
honest,
does
it's
not take
fair,
away the
but
fact that if I am on that shift with you, I can barely function.
you even be a liability
Exactly.
because she has to look after you and look after the patient.
And then she said she had to look after me as a patient.
Have you ever gone to work one day and then one of your colleagues will be like, "Why did you come to work?"
Yeah.
Like, and the
If you
funny
don't
side,
feel good,
yeah,
stay at
just stay
home.
at home. And the funny side of it is, you don't need a doctor's note to call in sick, except
Nah.
if you need
After
to be
a
off
week.
work after a week.
Yeah.
And even if you're off work after a week, I think the doctors can give you a sick off for
Yes.
I think
a
2
few
weeks
days
or
or so.
something.
Yeah.
And then if it's more than that, then they will request for a report.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you will still be paid, be on your
Okay.
sick.
Oh
and
yeah,
be
we didn't
paid.
say that. Of course, you will still be
They
paid.
will pay you.
You still get your salary. No
So
deductions
like there's no
whatsoever.
There was
deduction
a time they gave
whatsoever.
me sick off for 2 weeks.
Yeah, if I was scared of that,
I
there would
was
be like
scared.
a
I was
cutting
telling you,
happening.
I called Taiwo. I was like, Taiwo, they give me sick of. Are you sure they're going to pay me for this thing? I got paid. I think that was like one of my most paid months.
Yeah, she
Oh,
got paid.
yes, I got paid.
She was paid.
Money.
They didn't cut her pay. So that was
Nothing.
like one thing.
2 weeks.
They are really concerned about your well-being.
Your well-being, yeah.
They are concerned about your well-being. And even if so, recently Yetunde lost somebody close to her in Nigeria.
Wow.
She's not in Nigeria, she's in the UK.
Well, it doesn't mean that
But the
she's not
person is
affected.
close to her. She was not in the right state of mind to go to work. She called her manager and they gave her compassionate off.
Nice.
They gave her compassionate leave. So if your sister husband is dead or dies, and
Right,
you
no.
can establish the fact that is your family member,
Yeah.
and you, because you guys have been, you can even say he took care of me since when I was 6 years old. He was my closest pal, my nanny. He can be your nanny, because to them, nanny is somebody
He's
that
someone that
looks
is close
after
to
you.
you.
I
Yeah.
feel with the way
They will give you your compassionate
dog
leave.
dies,
Yes.
My manager took 2 weeks off because
Yes.
our dog wanted to have a surgery.
Afia,
So-
when we were preparing for our husky, Afia's dog, I don't know what
Was going
country
for a
the dog
surgery.
the dog was going for a
Okay.
surgery in India. And then she
In
said,
India?
yes, her dog is in India going for a surgery. And Afia, she was legit crying.
Yeah.
And when I saw her, I was like, Sheili, what's
Because of
wrong
dog.
with you? You are crying because of dog. But then they gave her time off
Yeah,
coming to us.
because to be fair, she said the dog is like a child.
She said it's like a child to her. So they gave her time. In Nigeria, nobody send your papa away. So yeah, they take care of their pets like their babies. So
Yeah.
I think they have like a leave, like compassionate, whatever it is, for things like that. So it's just so different.
Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. That's it for this video. Like, we could literally go on and on and on, but this video would rather be too long. If you enjoyed, or if you enjoy videos like this, please let us know down in the comment section, and then we can come up with more topics, and then we can do discussions like this. Okay, and
Yeah.
that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys in my next video.
Nothing is the same everywhere, by the way.
It is. It is. Our nothing.
No, let them
Our
scam you.
nothing. What's that thing
Our
called?
nothing bodies are the
They are
same.
literally.
But if you have the opportunity to run away,
Travel out.
Please run away.
it's what-
Come.
Even if it's Cotonou,
We.
please go.
Bye, guys.